Have you ever thought about what our world would be like if one of prehistory's biggest, baddest monsters was still slithering around? Well, that's what we're diving into today with one massive question. What if the Titanoboa never actually went extinct? So let's set the scene. We're going way back, 60 million years ago, to the Paleocene era. The dinosaurs, they're gone. And in these huge, sprawling rainforests that would one day become South America, a brand new apex predator was taking over. And this wasn't just any predator. It was the largest snake the world has ever known. I mean, a true monster that, thankfully for all of us, disappeared millions of years ago. But this whole explainer, it's all about one simple, and let's be honest, terrifying thought. What if it never actually left? Okay, to really get a picture of this thing, just look at this comparison. We think of anacondas as giant snakes, right? Well, the Titanoboa makes them look like little garden snakes. It was more than twice as long, almost 5 times heavier, and its prey wasn't deer. It was eating giant crocodiles for lunch. So before we can really imagine a world with this beast in it, we first have to get to know the creature itself. Let's dig into the incredible, mind-blowing facts that paleontologists have actually uncovered about it. You know, this isn't some monster from a sci-fi movie. Titanoboa was 100% real. Its whole story really came to light when scientists were digging around in a Colombian coal mine and found these massive vertebrae, revealing a creature that was way beyond anything they could have imagined. Let's just try to wrap our heads around that number for a second. 42 feet. That is longer than a school bus. Seriously, picture a city bus, and now imagine that's a living, breathing animal slithering through a forest. It's unbelievable. And the weight? Just as staggering. It's estimated to have been around 2,500 pounds. That's heavier than a fully grown polar bear. So this wasn't just a long, skinny snake. It was an incredibly massive, powerful animal. So what does a snake that big even eat? Well, other giants, of course. Its menu featured things like massive turtles and those ancient, huge crocodiles. This thing was the undisputed king of its ecosystem, a creature so dominant it would have shaped everything around it. Just like its modern relatives, the boa constrictors, Titanoboa was a crusher. It used that terrifyingly effective method of asphyxiation, coiling its immense body around its prey and just squeezing with a force you can't even imagine until its victims simply couldn't breathe anymore. And hey, if the crushing force somehow didn't get you, its mouth definitely would. The teeth tell the whole story, rows of sharp points all curved backward. That means anything that got caught in its jaw was only going one way, down. There was absolutely no escape. But you have to wonder, right? A creature this perfectly designed for hunting doesn't just happen. To grow this massive, it needed a very specific kind of world. So what was the secret ingredient that let it get so huge? The answer, in a word, is heat. The world was just so much warmer back then. Titanoboa's home had an average temperature of around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about 32 Celsius. For a cold-blooded reptile, that constant, intense heat basically supercharged its metabolism, letting it grow to that colossal size. But here's the irony. The very thing that allowed it to become a giant, well, that was also what led to its downfall. Let's take a quick look at why it's not around anymore. So the Titanoboa's reign lasted for millions of years. It was doing great. But then, as the planet entered a new era, global temperatures started to drop. The world just got colder, and the snake's massive heat-loving body, it just couldn't keep up. Its metabolism couldn't handle the cold, and the giant just faded away. All right, so now that we understand the real animal, let's get back to our big question. What would our world actually be like if, somehow, the Titanoboa had managed to survive all this time? Well, first off, its habitat would be super limited. Because it needs that intense, constant heat, the Titanoboa could really only survive in the hottest, most humid parts of our planet. The equatorial rainforests in South America, Africa, and Southeast Asia. For the rest of the world, we'd be safe. But for anyone living near its habitat, the impact would have been huge. Can you imagine? Early civilizations like the Aztecs or the Incas might have worshipped it as this powerful, terrifying god. People living in the forests might have adapted by building their homes way up in the trees. And in our world today,
It would be the ultimate legend, a Bigfoot or Loch Ness monster that's actually real. You just know documentary crews would risk their lives to get a shot of it.
And, inevitably, where there's a legendary creature, there are going to be hunters. And in our world, Titanoboa meat would probably become one of the rarest, most expensive delicacies on the planet. A truly dangerous prize for some wealthy food connoisseur.
So, how would you even begin to hunt a monster like that? You'd have to be smart about it. You'd probably start by using its natural prey as bait, a crocodile. Then, you wait. After swallowing a meal that big, the snake would be sluggish, slow, and vulnerable from digestion. And that's the moment you'd have to strike. But could we ever contain it? Like, could we put one in a zoo? Yeah, probably not. I mean, just imagine the logistics. The enclosure would have to be absolutely enormous. The security would have to be perfect. And the food budget? You'd have to feed it a steady diet of full-grown crocodiles. No, the Titanoboa would almost certainly remain a creature of the wild, way too big and way too dangerous to ever be tamed.
And all of this brings us to one final, really thought-provoking question. We know the Titanoboa's existence depended entirely on a hotter planet. So, as our own world continues to warm up, it kind of makes you wonder, right? Are we, by accident, paving the way for the return of giants? What do you think?